71 commands in 13 minutes. That's how many commands were barked at Tyree Nichols while he was tased, sprayed with pepper spray, beat with fists, kicked, and struck with a baton over and over again. It would have been impossible to comply with the orders of the Memphis Scorpion Unit police officers. EMTs with the fire department arrived after the beating ended, but provided no real aid. 25 minutes is how long it took for an ambulance to arrive, while Tyree suffered on the ground, crying out for his mom. Tyree died 3 days later with immense trauma to his body. 5 officers have been charged, at least 6 have lost their jobs, and EMTs have been put on leave. The brutality is horrific. The lack of humanity is appalling. Hey, everybody, and welcome to the True Crime Squad. This is Katie Weaver. I'm here with my sister, co-host, and partner in crime, Christy Brower. Hello.
Hello. Hey, everybody.
How's it going?
It is good. I'm surviving the polar freeze of 2023 so far.
Gosh,
It's so
guess.
damn cold. Oh,
It was 26 below at my house when I got up this morning, 40 below with wind chill.
yeah.
And my
That's
first
below
morning
0
tasks,
Fahrenheit.
yeah, my first morning chores are outside. So I bundled up, went out, convincing pigs and dogs to go outside and, do their stuff and come back in. But I also feed magpies every morning on my back patio.
Oh, yes.
And I just felt like an asshole getting a handful of absolutely frozen solid, hard, dry dog food and sticking it out for him. I thought, this is not enough. What else do
are
we
you going to
do for
do?
these guys?
Oh,
Yeah, they ate it all, but I know I joked on Facebook that I wasn't sure if I needed to provide them with a campfire or a hot carafe of coffee or just let them all in the house.
right.
But
There you go. Let them all in the house.
awful. Well, and now we're recording. It is Monday night. This is our Tuesday episode. It's 19 below currently at my house.
Yeah. Schools are all closed again,
Yep.
preemptively for tomorrow. Oh, I hate this part of winter.
Yeah, I'm ready to be done for sure. But, in the summer, however, when the rest of the country is baking and we're not, this is the trade-off, and I'd take it, really.
Yeah, I guess.
Even if I am absolutely
Then
terrified
I
of
will. Right now, no. Hate it.
no. Yeah, I was gonna say, even if I'm terrified to see what my heat bill is gonna be for this month. Oh my gosh.
Oh, yeah. It's going to jump. Mine will too.
Yeah, it'll be crazy.
But, I mean, first world problems. We have warm houses. We're fine.
We're warm in our houses and we can pay that bill. So,
And we have had no power outages.
No, thank goodness. Sometimes when everyone's running their furnaces to this degree, we do. And our power grid has held beautifully. So, yeah.
It's prepped for this. Texas, take notes.
Right.
Because our power grid here is prepared for this kind of cold.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
But it still sucks.
Yeah, it's something. But, we're cozy and warm inside. Scott made a beautiful pot of soup for dinner. And, I have no real complaints. The dogs are all wearing hoodies. And they're pretty hilarious in them. So it is what it is. However, feeling really serious about our topic today, as well as tomorrow. We have just a heavy but really important week, I think, of shows. Of course, today we're discussing Tyree Nichols. Now that all of the videos have been released, you guys may or may not have watched them. We did. I don't recommend it.
We did for you. You don't have to. If that's triggering for you, please don't.
No, don't put yourself.
And we're not going to air them.
No,
nobody should have to watch that.
No, they shouldn't. They should not. Well, some people should. The people that need to be accountable for this should watch the hell out of those.
Most definitely. And I think for us as white people, we have to watch these things.
Agreed.
But for people of color and just for the BIPOC community completely, please don't feel like you have to do that. We will witness for you because I know how triggering that can be. so much more
Sure.
triggering than it is for
Mhm.
me, and it's really damn triggering for me, so I can
Oh
only
gosh.
imagine.
I've just been ill, just ill about them, so yeah. And
Yeah.
then our episode tomorrow is going to be about, uh, postpartum psychosis.
Psychosis. Mhm.
And, we've learned a lot, and we're really, compelled to share it with you guys. A little bit different than our normal true crime track on that episode, but please watch it. You'll be really surprised at what you learn. I
Mhm.
think it's
It's
a
super
topic we
important.
absolutely have to, yep, learn more about, talk about, get more light on. So that's what's coming the rest of this week. And then, of course, so tomorrow night, Wednesday night case updates. But
Mhm.
that's kind of where our thoughts and hearts have been. Really serious topics, as well they should be.
Yeah.
So with that, Christy, I'm going to turn the mic over to you for our first episode, our first segment today, and that is a true crime news update.
Yes. Well, in absolutely terrible news and shitty news that no one should have to give, do you remember the infants who were carjacked, what, about a month ago? And um, the one child was returned alive.
Well, they were both returned
Well,
alive,
right.
but
That's
yeah,
right. But one of them was returned much quicker than the other, right?
right, yeah, that was dropped off at the airport.
Yeah. So sadly, um, Tyre Thomas died Saturday night.
Yeah, what in the world?
Yeah. So police responded to a 911 call. He was unresponsive. This was in Columbus, Ohio. Um, they found him at home and he was transported to a children's hospital. He could not be revived, and his death is currently under investigation, and an autopsy will likely be performed. So we don't know
Yeah,
what's happened to this child. Has he not lived through enough?
uh,
My God.
it's just
So
unspeakable.
it is. It is. And his family is absolutely devastated. Um, his grandmother said none of this feels real.
Yeah,
How can this even be? Tonight we are living a nightmare with the community for a second time in less than a month.
it's just
So
unfathomable that
we
this has
will keep
happened.
so he was abducted with his brother Kaysen in a
Mhm.
carjacking, and one was found near the airport, and it was a few days later before the other one was returned. I don't know which is which.
I'm not sure
Not
either.
sure between their names. But Kayer has passed away, and we will keep you posted if we find out
Yeah,
why. I mean, these tiny babies have been through an immense amount of trauma.
yeah,
To
yeah.
think that they survived the first time around with everything that they've been through
Amazing.
is
Yeah,
amazing. Yeah. So I don't know what's really the outcome is gonna be here, but we will keep you posted.
for sure.
And with that shitty news, let's go on to Tyree Nichols. Some
Yeah,
more shitty news.
yeah. All right. Well, you probably already have heard about the murder of Tyree Nichols. This isn't something that's been a new conversation. It's been going on for a minute. This happened in Memphis on January 7th.
Mhm.
And at that time, Tyree Nichols was brutalized by the police and died 3 days later. That's kind of what we knew. We knew that it was bad. Then there was an announcement last week that they were getting ready to release the footage from the CCTV as well as the vest cams from the police officers.
Mhm.
And there was a huge bracing of, okay, you guys, it's going to be really bad. Memphis was totally ready for whatever kind of protest came their way, as
Mhm.
were many other cities. Everybody was just kind of ready to roll, come what
While
may.
comparing this to Rodney King,
Yes.
which damn.
And yeah, and they even they released it at dinner time on Friday, hoping that people could be home from work so they could sit down, watch these tapes if they needed to process this news, and have the weekend with it.
Mm.
That's how bad it is. And
It
it
is.
really is that bad.
Yeah.
So I just want to go through. I'm going to go through the tapes with you. We're not going to air them. And
No.
again, if you want to go watch them, they're all over the internet. If you don't, totally understood. But
Yeah. Please don't feel like you have to.
no, but we're going to go through the tapes loosely, so that you kind of get a sense of what happened here. So he was initially pulled over, supposedly for uh, some kind of traffic stop. That supposedly there was some kind of erratic driving going on,
Hmm.
and he was pulled over by three unmarked police cars
Hmm.
uh, at the side of an intersection. They ran up to the car with their weapons drawn and opened the door and drug him out of the car. This was not a regular traffic stop. This wasn't any kind of stop. They treated him immediately like he was some kind of wanted fugitive or something. It
Hmm.
was extremely confusing and shocking to him and frightening.
Yeah.
And he was really unable to even respond, as you would expect for him to be able to do. So I want to just kind of take you through it. So again, it starts, the first footage starts with a police officer driving up to this intersection where Tyree's car has been boxed in by two other unmarked vehicles. This officer jumps out, races up with his firearm drawn, with two others officers rushing to the front seat. They open the door, yank him out of the car, throw him to the ground, and start screaming on the ground at him. He's on the ground. He's sitting on the ground, and they are screaming at him to get on the ground. At one point, they yell at him to get on the ground or I'm going to tase your ass. Well, he was already on the ground.
Hmm.
So then it becomes clear that maybe they want him not sitting, but lying on the ground. So he lays down on the ground, which upsets them even more. And and he says to them, "You guys are really doing a lot right now. I'm just trying to go home." Like, this is so confusing to him. Like,
Yeah.
what is going on? So one of the officers pins his arms down and pushes a taser against his leg and starts yelling at him to get on the ground. And he yells back, "I'm on the ground." So then they scream at him to get on his stomach. So he turns over onto his stomach. 3 seconds later, they spray pepper spray into his face. Well, at this point, imagine this. You're driving your car. Out of nowhere, three cop cars box you in. They drag you from your car. They start screaming at you. They pepper spray you. They tase you. And you have no idea why you're even pulled over or what's happening.
Yeah.
So he ran.
Right?
And before you
Terrifying. Who
just
wouldn't?
comply, crowd, come at me. No, they weren't following any kind of protocol.
Already, this is 100% illegal. They
Yeah,
don't even have any reason to have him pulled over, let alone on the ground. He hasn't done anything.
he hasn't done anything. And the police chief is now saying, we still don't really understand why he got pulled over. There is no evidence of erratic driving or anything of the like.
No, this was a setup from the start.
And one of the officers, the officer who tased him, says, "I hope they stomp his ass." Well, indeed, they do.
Mm.
At least five officers catch up with him and proceed to do just that. So after he flees on foot and they get a hold of him, he's only a few hundred yards from his car. He's almost home when this
Yeah,
happens. He
he's a
lives with his
100 yards
mom
from
and
his
his
mom's
stepdad.
house.
Yep, 100 yards from his mom's
Mm.
house. So at this point, he's lying on the ground. One of the officers is gripping his left arm, the other one is holding his right arm, and they're screaming at him to show you your hands. Give me your hands. Give me your hands. He can't. They're literally holding him down. A third officer runs up with a can of pepper spray and says, "You're about to get sprayed good." In
Oh,
the meantime, the other officers start punching him in the face. At what point do police officers punch people in the face? At what point?
Never okay.
Never. He's not fighting back. He's not trying to get away. He's literally just putty in their hands at this point.
At this point, he's got to go. They're going to kill me.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to kill me. I haven't done anything.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't done anything wrong.
Mm-hmm.
There's no reason for, they're going to kill me. I'll bet you at this point, he already knows.
Yep. He tries to pull his hands back to protect his face, and they keep punching him, and then they pepper spray him. That is the second of three times that he gets pepper sprayed in the face.
God.
He says, okay, all right, all right. Like he's trying to show them, like, I'm trying to cooperate. Like, what is happening? But it doesn't matter. At that point, another officer shows up, starts screaming at him to give him his hands. Again, he can't do that because he has other officers holding on to him. And multiple officers at the same time are dousing him with pepper spray, kicking him in the face, kicking him in the ribs.
Oh.
At one point, they yell, "Lay flat, goddammit!" Well, he's barely conscious and is moaning and writhing on the ground.
Well, and kicked in the ribs, he's probably curling up.
Uh-huh.
Can you imagine that the internal damage and how bad it hurts to have broken ribs?
Mm-hmm. He was kicked in the head twice. They keep screaming at him to lay flat. Finally, he just kind of goes limp. And then they snap handcuffs onto him. Like, he's not going anywhere.
No.
They continue to scream commands at him while they continue to constrain his body and control him and scream commands that he can't possibly live up to and keep beating him for not doing what they tell him to do.
I mean, what the hell were they thinking? Screaming that stuff. I mean, at what point did they not realize 100% of this is being recorded? There is no way that anybody is going to look at this and think this was legitimate. You're screaming commands at this limp, incredibly injured person who can't possibly comply. What the hell? They thought they were going to be justified here? Like,
right. And we have one man here with at least 5 police officers. Yeah. What was he going to do exactly? He had no weapon. He had nothing on him.
No.
I just don't get it. So then they start beating him with a baton, screaming at him to give me your hands. Again, at that time, one officer is pinning his arms behind his back, and the other is punching him in the face while someone is screaming at him to give me your hands.
What the hell?
He doubles over and starts crying out for his mother. The blows keep coming until they finally stop beating him. They leave him laying on the ground, writhing around, occasionally whimpering and crying out for his mother. They finally call for EMS services. And the first people that get there are a couple of EMTs with the fire department who don't take care of him. Eventually, one of the cops grabs him and drags him basically by his handcuffed hands and props him up against a police car. And he keeps falling over.
He can't even stay sitting.
He has immense brain damage at this point. And
probably all kinds of internal damage.
Yeah. Finally, and the EMTs they come over a few times and pick him up. And, not pick him up, but kind of prop him back up against the car, and then he just keeps falling over. They don't really seem to, at least in the video footage, really give him any aid.
They're all just sort of milling around.
They're all standing around.
What the hell are they doing?
Well, the police officers are actually congratulating each other, laughing, saying things like, "I beat his ass good." Stuff like that. Like, there's no humanity here. At one point, the officers tell the EMTs, "Well, he's on drugs." And then when they search his body, they're pretty shocked to find that there's no drugs. There were no drugs in his car. There were no drugs on his body. They ask him to tell them, what drugs is he doing? What has he been doing? And it kind of sounds like in the video, maybe he says alcohol, but there's no proof of that for sure. He wasn't doing anything. It doesn't appear. But he definitely wasn't doing anything that would make this Scorpion unit the judge, jury, and executioner.
I think you're fucked the second you call a special unit the
Mhm.
Scorpion unit.
Yep.
What in the hell is going on
Mhm.
with
Yep. Absolutely. So the EMTs just don't do anything really besides pick him up a couple of times. They wait for the ambulance to get there. They don't help him. It takes 25 minutes for the ambulance to arrive. They load him up and take him to the hospital. He has brain damage. He has immense internal bleeding from all of the beatings, and he dies 3 days later.
It's awful.
So now the two EMTs that were first on scene have also now been placed on leave because now that these videos are coming out, people are saying, what the hell? Well, initially, there were 5 police officers that were identified as being a part of the Scorpion unit that were on scene, and they were all immediately laid off, then fired, and then charged with second-degree murder. There's actually 7 charges against each of them.
Hmm.
But when the video came out, people were confused because obviously, in the initial stop, there's a white cop.
Yeah.
He's
You can
shown.
see his arms in
Uh-huh.
the video. He's
It's
clearly a white
his
man.
vest cam is tape number 1. It's
Yeah.
his vest cam. He's the one that tases him the first time. He's the one that says, "I hope they beat his ass." So people said, "Wait a minute. What about him?" Well, Memphis PD are saying, "Well, we did put him on leave the day after it happened." Funny how they didn't say that until today.
Well, and why is he not fired and charged with murder? He was
Why
there.
not? He was there.
The 5 officers that have been
Supposedly,
charged are black.
mhm,
The guy not charged is white.
is white.
That's elementary school math.
It's very sus. Supposedly, he wasn't there for the big beatdown, the second beatdown, but we don't know that that's true. I mean, all this has all been a big fat lie.
Right. Every bit of it's bullshit.
Now we also know that the videos are in direct contradiction with the police reports that were written. I mean, no big surprise there.
Lying their asses off.
But in the police report, they claim that Nichols started to fight and reached for one of their guns. But the video doesn't show any of that at
No.
all. It shows the police yanking him from his car, threatening to hurt him and hurting him, and continuing to scream commands at him and beating him more for not doing the things they're telling him to do. That's it. That's the whole story. It, so,
How did these officers think they were going to get away with this?
well, how many times have
Seriously.
they gotten away with this?
Right. Well, right. But now with all of the video, like, I'm not a cop and I can look at that video and go, this is murder.
Hmm.
Like, how
It's,
did they think that this was
yeah.
going to get by? Is that how arrogant these stupid scorpions are?
Well, I think so. So,
God.
big surprise here. Scorpion has now been disbanded. Scorpion was a special unit that was put in place about a year ago, a little more than a year ago, in concert with the mayor as well as the police chief to try to help clean up crime in Memphis because crime rates are going up, murder rates have gone up exponentially, and people are scared. So
We
they're
already
creating,
know that more cops are not the answer. It's to solve the social problems in those communities. More police
right,
makes this shit happen.
exactly.
It doesn't solve the problems.
So what it did is it created this unit of 40 officers in unmarked cars
Oh, God.
that have been basically running the streets of Memphis. Now, we don't know if this has happened before, but I have a hard time thinking it hasn't, considering that how brazen this entire thing was.
Right? I,
So they're disbanding. Yeah, of course they are. Well, no
and I
shit,
know
Sherlock.
Scorpion is some dumb acronym for
It's an
something,
acronym.
but
Yeah.
bullshit. You call cops scorpions? You know what
Mhm.
scorpions do? They kill people. That's what they do.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
Yep. Exactly. Exactly.
I'd rather see them called the fluffy bunnies, frankly,
Right.
than
Yeah.
something lethal. It's just
But
crazy.
One comment from the mayor was that they're trying to decide if maybe the Scorpion unit was kind of bound to fail from the start. Oh, you think?
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Giving these men free run of the street in unmarked cars to do
Yeah.
whatever they want?
Yeah.
Please.
Yeah. Apparently, yeah, that's been a problem. So they have, in this last year, they have, or sorry, it started in 2021, so it's been in
Mm,
progress for about 2 years. They have made hundreds of arrests and seized hundreds of weapons, made countless traffic stops. Like they've done a lot of work. I just am terrified to see, and we'll probably never know, how much corruption has been there from the start.
I mean, there's got to be a shit ton for this to go down and these
Mhm.
men to actually think they were going to get away with this.
Well, one thing we're learning is that Demetrius Haley, one of the officers involved, uh, has already been in trouble once for beating an inmate unconscious in 2016.
Definitely give him a scorpion badge then.
Yeah,
A cop that already has used that kind of force, like,
yeah, yeah.
this makes me sick.
It's all just so disgusting and frustrating
And
and
heartbreaking for Tyree's
heartbreaking.
family
Yeah,
and their community. No wonder he
yeah.
ran. I would run too. Who would
Right.
not run? The
Who
police are
wouldn't?
acting insane. Why would you not try to get out of there?
Right. Well, and as we know, I mean, we ran a story a couple of weeks ago about a black teacher from DC that was in Los Angeles
Yeah.
that was tased to death.
Yeah.
He
After he
got in
asked
a
for help
minor
from a car
Yep,
accident.
got in a minor car accident, called the police came, it got very overwhelming, he crossed the street to get away from them and just take a minute because he
Because
was
they were
scared.
getting ramped up. And
Mhm,
this
and
was
he was
just a
getting scared.
traffic accident.
Yep. So to respond to that, they chased him across the street and tased him 6 times in a row until he died.
Yeah. He died of cardiac arrest.
Black men and women, but men particularly, that are getting pulled over, that are responding as though they are terrified for their lives, it's because they are. They
And with
are, and
good
they should
reason.
be. Yeah.
I would be terrified right now and I would run too.
Mhm. But also, he had not been charged with anything. They hadn't even told him why they pulled him over. They had no right to do any of the things that they did.
No.
Before the just comply crowd comes out of the
All of
woodwork,
y'all just
just
fuck off
don't.
right now with that shit.
Yeah,
Don't even
just
try it.
don't. Because there was no complying with anything here. It seems like that Tyree was born or was bound to die the minute those cars pulled up and boxed him in.
This was planned. This was planned. I don't believe for 1 second that this wasn't a planned ambush on him.
Mhm.
Why would 3 cops surround him like
Yep.
that when he's just driving down the road?
Right. So there's a rumor running around on Twitter. And it is a rumor. I want to be super, super clear about this. This is a rumor. We can't substantiate this, but I'm going to share it with you because it's all over Twitter. I just want to be clear with you, though, that there's no proof of this yet.
Yeah.
Apparently, as the story goes, we know that Tyree worked for FedEx. And the story is that Demetrius's ex or wife, depending on who's telling the story, also works at FedEx and that that potentially they were in a relationship or had dated, that there was some connection between Demetrius's wife and or ex-wife and Tyree.
Yeah.
Again, we can't substantiate that. A lot of people are saying that. Also, that he took pictures of Tyree on the ground and texted them to her.
Well, there's a nail in his coffin, I sure hope.
Yeah. Why would you ever take pictures
Right.
and send them to anybody in any kind of police action? So again, it's a rumor. If it ever is substantiated, we'll keep an eye on it. I'm sure
I'm
you guys
sure.
will too.
But
But it is a rumor that's circulating heavily. So I wanted to be sure you know it's a rumor because it's being shared as fact
right.
uh, all over
We
the
don't
place.
know. But it makes sense. Like something else precipitated this event. This
Right.
didn't just happen randomly. Those
Mhm.
3 cops weren't just accidentally same place, same time, surrounding a car doing nothing. That's bullshit. This was
Mhm.
a setup from day 1. And they really thought that because they're the Scorpions, they could get away with it,
Mhm. But again,
even
doesn't
with
that make
this
you think they've already gotten away with it?
horrific video. It does make me wonder, what else has happened with these people? What else have these officers been doing
Yeah.
that they have been allowed to do
Yeah. Yeah.
this kind of horrific behavior?
Mhm.
Ugh, it's
It
so
is.
barbaric, it just makes me sick
Oh, it's just
to
disgusting.
think about it.
Yep. So that's what we know. There is so much more forthcoming. I mean, it was just today that we learned about the 6th officer that was, that of course has now been, they say was laid off, the day after this happened, and there's a lot there.
I wanna know why he's not charged. I
Me
wanna
too.
know, because I do not like that the 5 officers that are
Mhm.
charged are black and the 1 officer that isn't is white. That does
Yep.
not jive with me at all,
No.
considering what we know is going on in this country.
No, not at all.
And what
Not
about
at
those
all.
damn paramedics? They
Yeah.
let him die. They sat right there and just let him die.
Mhm.
Maybe they couldn't have saved him, but they sure as hell could have tried. Maybe
But
they
the
could have gotten him out of pain.
well,
Jesus.
and the videos of them just standing around
Yeah,
chatting, joking,
yeah.
congratulating each other, and just shooting the shit with the EMTs while this man is laying on the ground suffering.
It's disgusting.
I
It
can't
is
even imagine.
horrifying.
Yeah, it's unreal to think that that's what's going on here. Just unreal.
Yeah.
So there it is. Comment, please. Let's chat about it. Let's.
Unless
I
you're
don't
up to
even know
some
what to
bullshit, and
say.
if you are, don't even go there,
Yeah,
okay?
please
Don't.
don't.
We will make you sorry.
We're not doing it. We
No.
are not. Uh, all of it is so gross. But I agree. The fact that the 5 black cops were immediately dealt with and the white one wasn't until
Yeah.
the video came out, and now there's questions about that. That
Yeah.
too has to be answered. It all
Because
has to be
the
answered.
pictures of those 5 black officers is all over the internet. Why
Mhm.
wasn't the white guy all over the internet too? If that were true and he were laid off for this, where's his name and picture in the news until today?
Yeah. Yeah. Why is that?
Yeah. Why is that? Ugh.
Well, it is sick. Every bit of this is wrong, of course.
Yeah.
And I don't know what else to say at this point, you know? They're now saying that there are 3 members of the Memphis Police Department that have now or sorry, fire department that have actually been fired. And they're saying
Really?
that 7 officers involved in Tyree Nichols' death have been relieved of duty, but we've only heard about 6 of them. So who's the 7th?
Yeah, who is the 7th? And hopefully this is, more people seeing this video. They're not going to be able to cover anything up. They're not going to be able to
Yeah.
protect anybody because people all over the internet are going through these videos with a fine tooth comb. And that's where several
Mhm.
people said, we can see that guy's forearms. That's a white guy. Where is
Mhm.
he? And
Mhm.
then suddenly, here he is.
Mhm.
We have his name and
Mhm.
he's now been suspended.
Right.
So what
And
the hell?
his name is Preston Hemphill.
Yep.
I want to make sure and show his face and his name since he's been real lucky to be under the whole radar here. Preston
Until now.
Hemphill is
Yep.
his name.
Mm.
Yep. So there you go. So we'll keep an eye on it. I'm sure this is just the beginning of this conversation.
Most
So Christy, with
definitely.
that, I'm going to turn the mic over to you for one more case update.
Yes. In, I guess, slightly better news, you will probably remember the family who went over the cliff in California in their Tesla and lived.
Yes.
And then we found out that this was a murder suicide attempt on the part of the father,
Mhm.
Darvind Patel. He has been in the hospital along with his wife and children because they
Mhm.
250 feet over a cliff in California. Well,
Mhm.
were driven intentionally over that cliff by Patel.
Right.
Well, Patel has been released from the hospital and has been moved to jail.
Yep.
on suspicion of attempted murder and child abuse. He is being held without bail and shall be arraigned, either was today or will be sometime this week.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know exactly what his charges are going to be at this point, but it's something like attempted murder
Yep.
and child abuse because he drove children off this cliff. His kids are
Yep.
7 and 4, not to mention his poor wife.
Right. Who
Um,
lived, but also I believe has been quite hurt. The kids really
yes.
weren't that injured, but
No,
both of
they're
the adults were seriously injured.
yes, the wife has been pretty significantly injured, so was he.
Yeah.
But he is now in jail where he deserves
Mm-hmm.
to be and is going to
Absolutely.
be facing charges for his crimes. And so I'm glad for that. I'm glad they survived. I hope they're going to be okay. My God,
Mm-hmm. I
a hell of a thing to come back from.
It's so hard to imagine. Part of it is that the rescuers said that people don't live through these accidents. The spot where
Right,
they wrecked is a spot that a lot of people have wrecked on that highway, and they're always a recovery mission. There's
right,
never live people. When they discovered a live bodies, live people in this car, they were absolutely shocked because that does not happen.
right.
What a shock for this fucker,
Yeah, right. This
right?
asshole who thought he was
Hmm.
getting the job done and didn't. But look at the trauma he's left his wife and children
Oh
with.
my gosh.
I just, hope and pray that they're going to be okay and that he
Mhm.
goes away forever
Right.
because that's where
The
he needs to
justice is
be.
served here. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, that's what we've got. That was a lot. So, this is our Tuesday episode. We'll be back tomorrow, of course, for an extremely important conversation
Mhm.
about postnatal depression and
Postpartum psychosis.
postpartum psychosis. Yep.
Yeah.
These are really important conversations to have right now. And I really urge you guys to take a listen and then do some of your own research and learning too. This is a topic that needs a lot of our attention.
Yeah.
Uh, so that's where it's at. And then we'll be back Wednesday night with case updates. So that's what's coming this week. So as always, like, share, subscribe. Come find us over on Patreon.
Hmm.
You can always support our work by going to truecrimesquad.com. You can buy us a coffee. We
Hmm.
appreciate that. It just helps us a little bit more to keep it going around here.
Yeah.
But your engagement means a lot too. That helps us a lot. So
Definitely does.
any way you slice it, you can also come over to our discussion group on Facebook. We are True
Hmm.
Crime Squad on Facebook, and we have a discussion group that goes along with that you can come and join. And we talk about various cases there, and a lot of you guys post stuff in there that you're seeing, and that's a good spot to come and discuss crime in. I hope a safe place. We try and keep it a safe place where people, and thus far, really, it's been a good one. I've
Hmm.
been in lots of groups such as this where people are horrible to each other, and we're not putting up with that. And we haven't had a lot of that. So come talk.
Yep. Absolutely.
Well, as always, this has been yet another edition of the True Crime Squad. Take care.
Bye, everybody.